Should McLaren have done a split strategy for Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri? That's my big question today in the F1 recap. Just done the watch along of Monza, and obviously sensational victory for Charles Leclerc, doing, as you can see here, a one stop. So been watching all the data. McLaren do a two stop for both drivers, and my hunch is I feel they did that because they didn't want either driver to complain about being on a wrong strategy, and because of that I think they lost the opportunity to have at least one of the drivers go into the lead here, because it was an easy option for Charles Leclerc to go long, and they could use Carlos Sainz as a buffer. Carlos Sainz's race had really not been a great race, actually. He was down with Lewis Hamilton. He couldn't really keep the pace of Leclerc, Piastri, Norris in the front three. So a no-brainer for Ferrari to decide to get Sainz into P4 by holding up the McLarens a little bit, and it worked. And the end, 2.7 seconds, there was one lap where Piastri lost about a second or so trying to get past Carlos Sainz. So a great strategy from Ferrari, but I think McLaren have actually thrown this one away. Now, you could say the first lap, obviously, Lando Norris again bottling it from pole. Not the initial start, but Oscar Piastri going round the outside into the second chicane, and then that cascading and Charles Leclerc managing to get up as well. George Russell having an absolutely terrible start and really a terrible race. But McLaren have now got the situation where Lando Norris just got the fastest up on the last lap. You can see, actually, it was Max Verstappen who had it before, but it wasn't Verstappen who was close. It was actually Lewis Hamilton who would have got it if Norris hadn't pulled out the bag. And you can also see Lance Stroll tried to go cheekily for the fast lap at the end. He wouldn't have got a bonus point, would have taken it away. But given Oscar Piastri is so far behind Lando Norris in championship, more than 50 points behind, and Lando Norris, as McLaren's driver, is trying to get as many points onto Verstappen, for me, this was a huge opportunity, and we don't know how many McLaren are going to get. Yes, it does seem that Red Bull are dropping backwards, but there's not, here, the amount of drivers that are behind Verstappen that are normally going to be ahead of him is maybe just Russell. So I think there's going to be, Verstappen's not really going to drop much lower than this, and Norris needs to be maximising those points, getting those 25 points, getting those 26 points if possible. And so if Norris had done, because Norris boxed earlier than Piastri as well, if Lando Norris had stayed out on a one-stop here, or if Norris had boxed and they kept Piastri out on a one-stop, that might have forced Leclerc's hand, because if Piastri had stayed out on a one-stop, Leclerc might think, well, I need to box here because I'm not going to beat Piastri in a straight fight on the one-stop. And then McLaren have an option even to make Piastri give the position up to Norris. But now they went papaya rules and said, okay, you can both fight each other. I really don't think it was very smart from McLaren at all. And I think they could really regret this, especially when things can come down to a point or two at the end of the season. Yes, it's looking great for them in the constructors, but we expect that. They've got Piastri and Norris doing really well, where Red Bull, what Sergio Perez is, why he's in that car still, I don't know. Looking down the grid, by the way, Colapinto, and you let me know in the comments what you noticed in this race, who your driver of the day is. Make sure to subscribe as well to the channel here. But Colapinto, what an incredible race from Colapinto, up into P12, only a couple of positions behind Alex Albon, both Colapinto and Alex Albon doing their best laps at the end of the race, and in fact Colapinto doing a faster lap than Alex Albon. So Colapinto really showing that he's capable of doing that. Really bad for the stake F1 cars as usual. Hülkenberg had a terrible race. Magnussen, I don't see how he's going to keep that. He got a penalty. I think it was Magnussen who took out Sonoda, if I remember, or maybe it was Gasly. But the Hasses were all over the shop today, really making a hash of it. And I think Mercedes will rue their chances. Mercedes couldn't quite get into the top four, and Carlos Sainz as well had to play a wingman role. But Charles Leclerc, pole position at Monza. If you're a monogas driver driving for Ferrari, what are the two races you want to win? Monaco and Monza. It almost doesn't matter what happens in the rest of the season. I think this means it's been a great season for Charles Leclerc. But let me know what you think. Just kind of hot reaction, hot take after doing the watch along. And I will see you next time.